Hey guys, what's going on? My name is Zianni and I'm a Challenger mid lane Season 10, and this is my Orianna guide. There's currently only one popular rune page for Orianna, which is going to be Phase Rush. There's been a lot of variations like Spellbook and even Airy, but I think this is the most consistent one because it offers the most utility and versatility. The reason why this is because Orianna has no mobility, meaning that she's very vulnerable to ganks. This gives her another opportunity to kind of deal with those situations while being able to maintain aggressive actions. That's why we select Phase Rush as our keystone. Mana Flow Band is going to be best in slot for us because it also gives us mana pool to deal with wave priority, making sure that we always have enough mana to just push wave out and respond to things happening on the map. Finally, Transcendence ability haste is extremely valuable, making sure that we have the ability to consistently reposition our ball. Orianna is all about the way that you control your ball and making sure that we're able to move it around. Gives us more flexibility with the way we handle situations. Because a common issue is that you'll cast your ball, it's on cooldown, and somebody's running right towards you on the right side, you wouldn't be able to move it in time to ultimate them. Getting more haste kind of solves that issue. Finally, the last one, Scorch. I like to take Scorch because I play Orianna for lane as well. She's got a very strong lane phase against most champions because of her low mana cost. But if you plan on playing a scaling matchup, then Gathering Storm once again is going to be a lot better than Scorch. So this is going to be preference, but I do recommend Scorch. There is two secondary pages that you can run for Orianna. That's going to be Biscuit Delivery, once again for lane staying power, just to make sure that you survive regardless of the situation. When you're playing a scaling champion, that's kind of all you need to do is ensure that you survive laning phase. Biscuit Delivery helps with that, and if you're winning lane, then you can just use it as another source of mana, because it does increase your mana cap. Second, because of the nerfs to Cosmic Insight, it's no longer best in slot. We're now going to be taking Time Warp Tonic or Boots. I recommend Time Warp Tonic because, once again, playing for lane, Magical Footwear is very valuable, but not having move speed for a lot of these matchups is kind of deadly. If you're able to bypass Boots, then I think it's okay to take Magical Footwear. But if you're playing against a Xerath or any other high skill shot champion, then taking Boots is a very good situational pick. Time Warp Tonic otherwise just gives us additional move speed, and is always going to be extremely consistent. If you don't want either of these options, you can go and opt for the Domination Tree instead. I think Taste of Blood, a great alternative to the Biscuit because it just gives you straight up HP for trading. And then finally, Ravenous Hunter, Omnivamp giving you 11% healing from all skills and all attacks. Just extremely important for surviving laning phase after you get Lost Chapter, but also means in the mid game you're able to be a little bit more aggressive. The common issue that I see when I play Orianna is that if I don't have sustainability and I try to play aggressively and I get poked, then I'm immediately shoved out of the fight and I have to play front to back. If I'm running Ravenous Hunter, I can take these more precarious situations and look to take advantage of things. That's what Ravenous Hunter allows me to do. Finally, basically you're going to be taking offensive, adaptive, and armor magic resist depending on the matchup. If you're interested, you could take haste into scaling matchups, or if you're into a melee, you could take attack speed. I personally don't recommend attack speed because I've never really found it to be my playstyle. If you struggle with farming or you struggle with melee matchups, then I would recommend trying it at least once. In regards to items, Orianna is extremely flexible and versatile, which means that you can kind of run anything that you want as long as you're taking Phase Rush. Now, in regards to having an early game impact, I think that Ludens is extremely valuable. Once again, this is how you can get 28 Magic Pen. This allows you to do as much damage as possible to carries. If your team is struggling to win, you probably want to do Ludens if you want to contest Dragons, or if you want to contest Rift Herald. If you need jungle priority, I think Ludens is the optimal item to go for. If your team is doing fine and you're even or scaling, I do think that Leandri's is probably more valuable for mid to game spike or transition. And you'll notice here that the main difference between our tank build and our flat penetration build is the addition of Archangels. And basically the only difference here is that we can safely build Tear the Goddess and allow that to ramp up without losing too much damage because we're committing to it. But if we were to build tier with our Luden's Echo, it would have less value because we're not really getting beneficial stats immediately. So every bit of gold that we spend would be kind of a dead stat until it upgrades. Which is why this is going to be more worthwhile in a 30-minute game than trying to play a 20-minute game. After that, honestly, every item is situational. There's really no best in slot for Orianna because she's always going to be looking to buy items for different reasons. Once again, by Void Staff, if we need to penetrate a large amount of magic resist, we build Zhonya's into literally any AD assassin. If you're playing against a Zed, Talon, Yasuo, you probably need Zhonya's, and the reason why is because you're going to be eventually side laning against these champions, and if you don't have armor, you will just die. Once again, Banshee's Veil is the complete opposite of Zhonya's. If you're playing against a heavy AP champion, having 45 magic resist makes it so much harder for them to one-shot you without Void Staff. Rabadon's Death Cap is obviously the best item in terms of stat efficiency once you have 3 or 4 AP items, which makes it a great last item, or you can even dopamine rush it and build it fourth. Now, in regards to the penetration for tanks and the mid-game spike, Archangels gives us the highest AP out of any item outside of the magical opus from Rabadon's Death Cap. So once we completed this item, it's really dependent on the situation. If we're playing against tanks, then it's likely we're going to need Void Staff because they will build or itemize MR. But once we've done that, or we've made the decision that it's not necessary, I do think that Rabadon's would be best in slot after Archangels. And defensively, it's just going to be between Zhonya's and Banshees every single time. So there is versatility, there is flexibility, but it's always just going to be dependent on what defensive options you need for that game, and whether your offensive option is going to be geared towards magic resist or geared towards maximum AP value. So we're doing a 1v1 against a Yasuo. Looks like he started D-Blade health pots, so any damage that we do is going to be sticking a little bit more than usual. We got to recognize that he's also running Flash Ignite, which is a little bit dangerous for us. The important thing here is that we did take armor, so we take less damage, and we also opted for Ignite as well. So the important thing for this matchup is making sure that we deal with the windshield. So you see that white bar? That's 115 that he's protecting himself from. If we're able to break the shield, then any damage that we do after that point will stick. So it's important to always make sure that the shield is down when we're trading with a Yasuo. If he has shield up, then he's very likely that he's just going to dash through minions and take a free trade. Because there's no way that I'm going to be able to break 100 shield and then do more damage than he does to me. So that's what we're looking to avoid. Now, Orianna is all about wave control and zone control. We know for a fact that this guy does not start E. They usually start Q, so we're just going to go ahead and use our body to zone him off. And we'll go ahead and just Q poke. Every time that he loses a minion here, it's extremely valuable to us. We need to make sure that we don't misfarm ourselves. And once again, making sure that that shield does not get the opportunity to really fuck us. Once again, you can cast Q while moving, which is really helpful. You'll see that I go for Q every time my mana flow is up. Unfortunately, I did not get that one, but go for the auto when he goes for the auto. It's all about punishing people when they're contesting CS in mid lane. Now, we do have level 2 advantage, so we don't want him to be able to farm for free here. We're going to make sure that we break his shield before he hits 2. Oh, taking a tower shot's awful here. Alright, we've got our passive stacked up, so this is really good for us. So the thing is, because he's taken so much damage, it makes it a little bit difficult for him to play aggressively, because he's already doing so at 50% HP. I don't really need to worry about wave positioning because we are currently in a 1v1, but this is a very dangerous spot for us to be on. So really good scorch damage there. It's very important that I keep my health topped off here, that's why I'm making sure. And we should be good here, we'll just go ahead and keep poking him. Okay. And then it's going to be first blood for us. Now it's extremely important here that we get as much gold as we can. We know that he doesn't have teleport, so we need to consider, is pushing this next wave worthwhile, and does it give him the opportunity to get something off of us? We know they just respawn really quick, so he's going to be on his way back. Staying for this wave does make my purchase a little bit easier, but also means that he's a chance of pushing in the next wave. So we'll go and see what happens here. He's going to go and be able to farm this for free, and by the time I get back to lane, he should have already pushed way back towards me, probably. So we get additional pot, we get additional ward, but because we delayed our recall for that extra wave, you'll notice that he's already pushing this in, trying to deny me whatever amount that he can. The good news, however, it is a cannon, so the cannon's going to absorb a lot of damage there, and I'll be able to get there before it goes down. Now, the bad news is I did use my flash for first blood, and we're in an extremely volatile matchup, so I need to be very considerate of where I'm placing myself in this matchup, because he could definitely 100-0 me. He does have Ignite available, but this is perfect wave condition for us. Unfortunately, the minions absolutely fucked us there, because if it stayed right here, this Yasuo would have absolutely zero clue what to do. I think he's actually doing Scuttle. But we're just going to hold this wave here as long as we can. One of the benefits of holding wave here is that it actually builds it up, and then we could go ahead and just use it as a way to bully him. Now you see me sporadically moving, that's literally just so I can dodge the Q. Now he's in an extremely bad space here, we got a lot of extra AP. And he just doesn't have the sustain to really deal with us. Okay. So he went for the all-in, but he wasn't able to get the dash off, and he committed with the Ignite. So the thing is, if he wind walls my ball, it does basically blank out my ball, or it'll stop it at whatever point. So in this situation, if my ball gets deleted, it's good because it reverts it back to its initial position, which is me. Now I'm going to take a plate here, and once again I'll just go and reset. And by the time I get back, this will be in a pretty good wave state for me. Because you gotta remember, the closer it is to tower, the sooner his minion wave arrives, and then it'll eventually just kind of crescendo into me. We're gonna go and do boots, pots, and I do have 3 biscuits here because I haven't really been in a dangerous spot. But you'll go ahead and see that this wave is starting to push towards me. So he's currently 22 CS down. He is a D2 Yasuo player. So it's not like he's going easy on me. It's just very difficult for him to deal with the range advantage in the early levels. Now we do have ult advantage, so we want to make sure that we take advantage of it. He should be dead. And at this point, the lane's basically unrecoverable for him. So I think we should go ahead and call it. At this point, without jungle interference, it's just a massive disadvantage.